All right, everyone. Welcome to the very first full episode of The Boring and the Brilliant. I'm Max, the guy who had a mentor, which basically means I had someone to stop me from making the really stupid mistakes.
And I'm George, the guy who did not have a mentor, which means I made all the stupid mistakes. Every flavor, vanilla, chocolate, mint, I tried them all.
And that's exactly why you're here. You get both perspectives, the guided path and the chaotic path.
Hey, chaos builds character.
And ulcers.
Also that.
Today, we're starting with something foundational, because you can't understand investing if you don't understand how people learn it. And the truth is, nobody wakes up magically knowing how money grows.
Yeah, some people learn from a mentor, some from books, and some by stepping on financial rakes for a decade and eventually figuring it out.
The important part is both paths can work. There isn't just one way to become good with money.
But there is one thing every successful investor has: curiosity. That's the real engine, not IQ, not confidence, not fancy math.
Curiosity and consistency. Those are the two ingredients we're going to keep repeating all season. George, take us back. What made you start learning about investing?
Okay, picture this. I'm 23, working at a warehouse during the day, stocking boxes, bartending at night, fixing vending machines on weekends. No time, no money, and honestly, no idea what I was doing with my life. Then one day, I'm talking to this older guy at the bar. He tells me he's retiring soon. I ask him how. He says, I invested in the market for 30 years. And I'm like, what market? Where is this market? Do I need a ticket?
You thought it was a physical place, didn't you?
Max, I thought it was like a farmer's market, but with stocks instead of tomatoes. You walk in, buy a share, walk out with a receipt.
To be fair, half the internet still thinks that.
True, but that conversation lit a fire. I realized, wait, people can just grow money by owning pieces of companies? That was wild to me. I didn't grow up around that kind of thinking. So I bought my first investing book, then my second, eventually my third. But here's the thing, I didn't understand most of what I read at first. The words were big, the sentences were long, and I thought, man, maybe this isn't for people like me.
I think a lot of beginners feel that way.
Absolutely. So here's the first educational point. Investing feels complicated only because it's explained in a complicated way. Once you break the concepts down into basic, everyday examples, it becomes simple. One explanation changed everything for me. Someone told me this: investing is like owning a tiny piece of someone's lemonade stand. If the lemonade stand grows and makes more money, your tiny piece grows too. Boom! Light bulb.
That's such a powerful way to think about it.
And that's why we'll use simple examples here. Not because you're not smart, but because Wall Street loves making things harder than they need to be.
My experience was the opposite. I had a mentor when I was in my early 20s. His name was William. Older man, calm voice, looked like the kind of guy who drinks tea and judges your life decisions silently. He said something on day one that stuck with me. If you can't explain an investment simply, you don't understand it.
That's wisdom right there. I learned that 15 years too late.
He also made me do something interesting. He made me explain companies using kid-friendly language. For example, if I wanted to buy Google stock, he'd say, explain Google like you're explaining it to a 10-year-old. So I'd say, Google is a giant library that helps everyone find information faster than they could alone, and companies pay Google to show their signs in this library. And he'd say, good, now you understand it. That method made me realize investing isn't about complexity, it's about clarity.
Let's talk about the most common beginner belief. I need to know everything before I start. No, you don't. You don't need to know every stock, every metric, every strategy. That's like saying you need to learn every recipe on earth before you cook an egg.
Exactly. Start with the basics. Understand what a company is. Understand why a stock goes up or down. Understand compounding. If you plant a tree today, you won't see much tomorrow, but leave it alone for years and suddenly it's giving you shade, oxygen, and maybe even fruit. Investing is the same. The early growth looks boring, the later growth looks brilliant.
And the people who quit early never get the shade. That's the tragedy.
Another misconception is, I need a lot of money to begin. You don't. You can start with $5, $10, $20.
People underestimate how powerful small amounts are. I once calculated that if you invest just $20 a week from age 25 to 65, you'd likely become a millionaire, even with average returns.
And if you invest nothing, you get nothing. That's the math.
One more thing beginners struggle with: emotions. The market goes down and they freak out. They think they're losing everything.
But in reality, volatility is just noise. It's like weather. Rain doesn't mean the world is ending, it just means it's raining.
Exactly. Long-term investors don't care if it rains today. They care about decades.
All right, let's give listeners a clear, simple action plan they can use right now. Steps you can literally follow today. 1. Learn in small pieces. Pick one concept per week. Stocks, bonds, compounding. Don't rush. 2. Explain things simply. If you can't explain a company like you're talking to a 10-year-old, you're not ready to invest in it. 3. Start with whatever money you have, even $5. Habit beats the mount. 4. Stay consistent. Invest monthly even if it's small. 5. Ignore market noise. Focus on decades, not days. 6. Avoid too good to be true investments. If it promises fast riches, run away.
Next episode is one of my favorites, boring investing. And trust me, boring is beautiful.
We're going to explain why boring investments outperform most smart ones and how to mix both boring and brilliant strategies to build a stable foundation.
If you enjoyed this, hit follow. It helps us reach more listeners and keeps this show alive.
We can't wait to see you in episode 2 of
The Boring
and the Brilliant.